Hi, it's Rav Tour. Welcome back to the second half of the show, In Tune with Real Estate, the hottest real estate show in the world. That's right, I said it. I don't care who knows it. Tonight we're talking about how you can take your RSPs and make 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16% annualized with your RRSPs. We've got my friend Mark Vasilius on the show. He's going to teach us all about that. This is a call-in show. I love hearing your voice, Peel Region. Please call in, ask questions about anything you want, real estate related. If you don't want to do that, then at least call in, sing me a song, some poetry. 905-595-5483 is the number to call. So, Mark, let's continue, if you will. We're talking about...
You know, Rob, before we do continue, I just wanted to mention that last caller. I mean, she brought up a valid point.
Yes.
But I wanted to also address, you know, that I've heard a lot of these kind of stories and situations. People say that's a headline, and it may not necessarily be, you know, what the reality is. I mean, people can pull stuff out of the air and say, I heard of a friend of a friend of a friend. But in reality, you know, there is a little bit of sensationalism behind it. People look and say, oh, this is too good to be true. It can't be real.
You know, I'm in the real estate development world. That's all I do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, structured a little bit differently, but it's the same thing. Because it's too good to be true, people talk, oh, there's too many condos being built, but there's no facts there,
That's right?
And what you're saying is, Rav, the highest we go is 80% of the land, meaning we make the developer put his own money down, at least, if not more, 20% of the land value. If the land value is $2 million, we make that builder put in $400,000, and we'll give him the other 1.6
There's always going to be a 20%, and that's on the minimum. Some are 70, some are 60. Yeah. But at the highest we go is where there's 20% equity left.
So that there's a 20% buffer if anything were to happen.
That's right.
The other thing that I like that you're saying is, you know, these aren't, you know, 6-7 year deals. These are 1-2 year deals. So our money, I get all my money back plus the 16, in this particular case, I get all my principal back plus 16% per year in a sense, annualized. And I'm in and out in 2 years.
And the reason for that, Rav, is our focus and our attention at Valor Group is to look more at infill lots, where all around us we know the zoning's there, all around the infrastructure's there, all the pipes servicing is all there, so that moving to the construction phase is quite quick. Buying, like I was mentioning, a cornfield, that's not how this, for us, that's not how the project works. We want to be in and out in 2 years so that we have a defined exit strategy. We're dealing with a fixed return. That's why.
Fixed return. And the reason why they don't go to the banks is because the banks don't get it, which I know that, being in the real estate development world. Okay, so that takes care of the land aspect. Where does the money now come from for the soft costs, which is the sales center, the marketing, maybe any real estate commissions to sell out these townhouses in Woodstock? Where does that money come from?
That money would come from the RSP investor.
Okay, so we provide that as well.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we basically, there's like a business plan, like any, you look at this property and we say, okay, from beginning to end, we're manufacturing a building on a site, we're changing its use, we're increasing values, and so to do that, we require a business plan. We need to have applications, blah, 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 blah. And as we go down the list, values are going to be increasing. Part of that is going to be a sales center and a marketing strategy. So that is only what I would call one line item in the accounting process.
So when we raise the $2 million, what percent is going towards soft costs?
That would depend again on the project, but that can be anywhere from 30 to 60%.
Oh, that high?
Yeah.
But then,
depending on, again, where the project is, you know. Okay,
so that's built in. We're building that in because they need a mortgage for the rest. So if we have, let's say it's an 80-20 loan to value, it costs $2 million. He's putting down $400,000. We're putting down 1.6. So we're really not raising 1.6. We're going to raise 1.8, 1.9 because 200-300 is going towards soft costs.
That's correct.
Okay. Then where does the money come from for the construction costs? That's the biggest part of it all. Is the construction cost.
In some cases, again, depending on the project, when we move into construction, sometimes the RSP holders are removed out. They're bought out. Some of them stay right to the end. It depends, again, on the project. Again, allowing...
In this particular, Woodstock.
In the Woodstock one, they're being removed out.
And so they're getting paid out?
They're getting paid out.
So how are they getting paid out? Because we've already sold out the units.
Because in the construction loan takes into account the 1.8, and it buys that out. So the construction loan now is construction plus the 1.8.
So now the bank says, the construction loan comes from the bank now.
That's correct.
So now the bank says, Mr. Builder, we see you've bought the land. We've seen that you've sold out 80–90% of these units, and the only reason why it's not 100% is because the builder wants to keep the last few for even more upside. We've seen that you've sold all that out. You've got 20% deposits from all the consumers, the people that are going to live in there. So we will give you not only the construction loan, but the land value, and so you can now pay out all your investors, and away you go.
And again, every project is different.
So this project is not taking 2 years to build, but we're out in 2 years because the bank's going to give us money after 24 months, and we're out.
That's right.
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Again, you know, Rob, I gotta emphasize that being project specific.
Yeah.
As you know, if we present a project, we say, look, on this project, here's how the money's going to be spent, here's how the mortgage is set up, and here's how the construction is set up. It's a business plan. People get an opportunity to look and say, you know what, I don't like this. I think I want to stay in the project. Construction maybe come second to the mortgage.
So, Mark, so question number one: how much is needed? 25 grand minimum in this particular case. What's my return? 16% per year. How do I get it? 8% paid monthly, 8% paid monthly, 16% at the end of the project. Last question then, the fourth one.
Yep.
What is the biggest risk? And let me lead you with this. You are teaching us syndicate mortgage model. This falls under FSCO, which stands for what? Financial Services?
Commission of Ontario.
Commission of Ontario. That's the mortgage world. And so we're dealing with the mortgage world. We're dealing with FSCO. This is a syndicate mortgage. I've known you for, I don't know how many years and years and years and years. You have never lost an investor dollar doing it this way. And you've never lost it for your investors.
That's right.
That's right. But there's a lot of syndicate mortgage companies out there that have lost. Why? What's the difference? And as much as you know, I'm not a big proponent of us, tooting our own horn. I just want you to answer objectively, what's the difference? Is the difference what you've already mentioned many a times? The highest you'll go is 80-20. Is that one of the differences? Is the difference because your underwriters have looked at this inside and out at ProFunds and we can't miss? What's the difference? Why is there? Because I don't want somebody watching the show and saying, oh, Mark Vasilius and Rav, they seem like great guys. I'm going to put my money in syndicate mortgages. But it wasn't with Valor Capital and ProFunds. It was somebody else, and they lose.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I want to step back just a little bit. And you said there's lots of guys and projects that have gone sour. I don't think there is.
Okay.
I think that number is very, very low.
Yes.
I mean, for those of you.
But Mark Vasilius says never.
Okay, and I appreciate that's true.
Yes.
But does it happen? Yes, it does. Does it happen often? No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because that's why when you hear about when we look at default ratios in the regular real estate world, what is it? 0.5%.
Yeah.
It's the same in this business.
Got you.
Okay, so the 100. If we do 100 syndicates, half of 1% is not going to work.
Gotcha.
It's the same ratio.
Okay.
What are those risks? Well, the risks are many. For everything from land, as I was mentioning, land values are too high.
Yeah.
Defaults occur because the developer takes off and runs. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can happen. Absolutely, I'm not saying that it's risk-free.
Gotcha.
But when we got to bring that number, as you said, pulling numbers out of the air. Well, hold on. Let's look at their actual stats.
That's why we're here. Teach me.
It's the same as the default on the homeowners.
Gotcha.
So how many times have you heard of a power of sale? Sure, they happen, but in reality, out of 100 homes, how many power sales are you going to see?
Yeah.
Same thing. Same ratio.
I guess more my question was, because I followed you for almost a decade, right? We got into the bit. We were investing together. We were doing a real estate license together. We're family friends. Because I've known you for so long, you've never missed. And what you're saying is, yeah, Rav, but the rest of the people who are doing the same thing, they might have missed once or twice. Now, for somebody watching, missing once or twice can be everything.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm not minimizing this when I speak to these people that I feel, and trust me with the knowledge that is here. I like this. I like that it's cash flow. So long as we're with the right people and the loan to values, there's room there.
Sure.
And what you're saying, even the banks feel comfortable with 80-20. Even the banks, right? When you want investment properties, they don't feel anything comfortable more than that. Put down 20%,
CMHC.
we'll give you 80.
That's right.
CMHC, Canadian, that's the rule, right? So how many deals, what's next? Somebody says, okay, I don't like Woodstock, but how many deals is Valor Capital doing in a year? What are we trying to do? What's our goal?
We have approximately 7 deals on the go right now.
Yeah.
And in various stages of development.
Yeah.
Some are right in the construction phase now, and they're close. Some are at the very beginning stages where they can get involved. Some are actual asset buildings where it's an existing apartment building, or we have a medical plaza in Kitchener.
Yeah.
So we have different options of how people can say, you know, I think I would prefer an RRSP investment in something that I know and trust, which would be a finished building. We have that option as well.
So somebody says to...
and that's where private lending comes in as well.
So somebody's watching the show and they say, hey, Rav, I like that. I'm making 8% too. I have my money in a REIT, a real estate investment trust.
Yes.
You would say to them?
I'd say REITs are great, and if you're making 8%, that's a great thing. Just keep it there. I'm not trying to... I think, you know, in many ways, what we're offering is a similar...
Because I would say it's not a great thing.
Tell me
compared
why.
to what you're, because it's not project specific.
It's a fund option.
I'm giving my money to somebody else, and they're choosing, well, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy this. My great-grandmother's last name was this, and so I'm going to put my money in this because it's on the same street. I don't know where my money's going, but with yours, it's project specific. So I don't like this deal, Mark, but I like this one. And so that's why I think be careful of a REIT. Not that the REITs are bad, but I'm saying compared to this, it's a no-brainer. I would rather, wouldn't you, have your money in something project specific,
well, something
as opposed to just in a blind fund.
Right. Well, you know, it's something where you know. But I believe in you know, what was his name, Stephen Covey, where, you know, the world is a big place. If someone's getting 8% here and they're getting 8% here, God bless them. All the best to you. Our system happens to be where, you know what, you can control where your money's going a little bit more.
You're not as narrow-minded as me.
Well, I don't even want to put it that way. I'm just saying, I'm
unapologetic.
8%. At the very beginning of the show, we talked about return of investment. Yes. If you're getting 8% there and we're offering 8%, keep it up. Good work.
No, but anyways, it's a moot point. But because we were talking about how we were making a little bit more than that when we bought and tenanted out. So it's not just the same returns; it's the work that goes into it. But
right.
Yeah. So no, I think people. This is very interesting. You taught me this. I threw $25,000 of my mom's money for her in a private mortgage, made 8% per year, paid monthly, 3 years. She got 36% overall. You know, it's good. It's good, especially for the those that are not accredited, because to be an accredited investor, there's so many government stipulations. You've got to make a couple $100,000 a year. You've got to. So what do people do if they're not accredited and they've got this kind of money? This is another alternative, as you put it. You know, on the show that you host, I don't even think we said that.
I don't think you did.
You host your own show, you know, with Rogers, and teach this kind of stuff.
That's right. Well, and in my business plan for the show, I said, look, I want to address how you can make money in the alternative ways. But as we all know, there's lots of investment groups and there's lots of books about buying a duplex and how to rent and how to be a tenant. I mean, it's sort of a landlord and all these aspects. And I bought those books. Yeah. I did those things.
And you put them into practice.
I absolutely did. And I did it for years. And I can say, you know what? What I'm doing now is I'm going, holy crap, I'm making the same return of money invested as I was back then, and I'm not working near as hard.
And to be honest, you're making more. Yeah. Right? We're making more in real estate development.
I'm sleeping better. I got to tell you right now, I'm sleeping better.
The margins are a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you look great.
Yeah.
Let's go over it really quickly. We got a developer comes to you, says, Mark, you've got your investors. I've got this piece of land. Mark looks at it. His third-party analysis look at it all. They want to make sure the appraisers are the real deal. It's worth $2.23 million.
And it's not just appraisers. I want to verify that what we try to do is we try to get third-party verification on every aspect, engineering reports, all the different things, so that in many ways, what Valor does is create a third-party review process so that professionals are coming in here and saying, okay, because when we present our projects to our investors, they're going to ask these questions. Well, wait a second, who's this guy that said, oh, don't worry about the topography, water's not going to go in. We need to have...
No, you're negotiating the deal on behalf of the investors, so you want to make sure you've done
package it.
All your due diligence. You package it. The builder puts down his 20%. We give him the mortgage for the rest. We know ahead of time when we're going to be bought out in this process. We're paid monthly or quarterly, whatever we negotiate. And at the very end, we get a deferred lender fee based on basically the profits the percentage of the profits that are there.
And I want to address also, the difference in the REITs. One is the location, but the second, which is an extremely important part for, I think, for a lot of your viewers, is it's a short timeline. With the REIT, ours is a defined and a fixed rate. You know exactly what you're going to get when you're going to get. You're right. A REIT is that, but a REIT doesn't have an
no guarantee.
Your REIT doesn't have an end of term. If you know what I'm saying.
That's right.
So
if it's not liquid. It's not so easily
as liquid. Yeah.
I can't sell my shares so quickly.
That's right.
And if it's a public REIT, maybe I can, like on the stock exchange, but my return's less, 5-6% per year. You're giving me on this past deal 16% paid monthly.
Yeah, fixed. It's called a fixed rate. That's right.
It's called a fixed rate.
When you walk into it, you know exactly what you're getting, and at the end of 2 years, you can say, "This is how much I'm going to get at the end of 2 years." What other product can you say at the end of 2 years? I'm going to have X amount of money.
So people are watching the show. They're going to call you. You're going to explain more. Is there any seminars? Is there any? Because I know often you have these kinds of things. Anything coming up?
Yeah, we have one coming up on October 24th at the Sheridan on Dixon Road.
Is it on your website too?
It's on the website. It's on the ProFunds website. It's also on the Valor Capital website, where your viewers, you can come and hear us. We're going to have a lawyer. We're going to have an accountant.
Yeah.
We're going to have various what I would call expert guests that'll come up, and they're going to ask you. A lawyer is probably one of the most busiest guys in that room, saying, "How am I protected? What's my security?"
Yeah.
And he goes right to the Bank Act. He says, "Here you go. Here's the Bank Act. You're protected like a bank." So on October 24th, 7 p.m., Sheridan on Dixon Road.
A seminar where we can teach us more.
That's
but
right.
If people go to valorcapital.com, they can find out that. Is there a cost to it?
No, it's a free seminar. We certainly want to meet as many of you as you can. We want to educate people.
Okay.
And they're 99% always sold out because, as we know, RRSP is billions and billions, and there's a lot of people out there only making 3%.
How does what's happening in America right now, and October 17th is a big day, I guess. How does that affect us in any way, other than emotion, which is a lot? Does what's happening in the States affect what's happening here in terms of real estate development?
I think, Rav, when we talked about the issues of how you can lose money in real estate, I think one of the points I didn't bring up, which is economic conditions, which is, factors that come in that are totally outside of our control. The fact that the U.S. may default on their ceiling is a reality. I'd be a fool to say, well, nothing's going to happen, don't worry, your money's safe. I think, again... my investors, along with me, we'd have to go and educate ourselves and say, you know what, what's the reality here? What is the risk? What are the risks? And each individual person, because you're being project specific, and say, I don't think I want to invest because I don't think I think the economic conditions aren't right. I don't know. That's a crystal ball question. To answer specifically, I can't answer.
Well, in 2009, it was a bit of a hiccup. It didn't really matter much.
It did.
Right? Maybe something delays for a few months, but then it picks right back up. And it's no big deal.
And I'm old enough to say that the saying going around was when the U.S. sneezed, Canada got a cold. Well, this is the first time that the U.S. got a cold and Canada barely sneezed.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the opposite.
2009.
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah,
so it was one of the first to where when I saw 2009 coming, I was thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to be in for a rough ride.
Yeah.
We didn't. Our economic fundamentals of our whole economy was superior to what was happening in the U.S.
Somebody invests minimum in this deal, $25,000. They're getting paid 8% per year over 2 years, getting another 16% when it's done. Works out to be 32% over 2 years, 16 a year total. That's fixed. There's nothing being paid out after or before, all that kind of. That's my money. How does Mark Vasilius afford that beautiful shirt that he's wearing right now? How does Valor Capital get paid? He gets paid from the development end, from the developer, and you negotiate that. Obviously, it does. Well, I guess what I'm saying is there's no cost to the investor. They're not paying Valor. It's the developer that's paying Valor, correct? That's how you get paid?
Sure. I mean, I was mentioning to you, sort of a little bit about what our services do. We bring in and we validate all the different components of the project.
Which costs money.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, we package it. There's no doubt that a developer comes to us and says, look, I've got this project, and we do due diligence on the project before we even say, you know what, we can make this work or not.
Yeah.
So
you say no to a lot of projects because it's not good for your investors.
Rav, to say that we get a project a day is probably an understatement. Okay. So we get 30 to 35 projects every month, and we probably say no to 29 and a half of them.
We're going to hit to a break in 20 seconds. So
okay.
So Valor gets paid how?
Valor gets paid really as an administrator of the whole fund. Valor gets paid as works with the developer on project managing.
Yeah.
We actually assist them with the accounting side of it because there's other aspects.
So it's the developer that pays Valor.
That's right.
Got you.
That's right. The project.
905-595-5483 is the number to call. Always write that down, put it in your pocket. You're watching In Tune with Real Estate. Tonight we've been talking to Mark Vasilius about how to make money with your RSPs. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Mark's closing thoughts. Thanks for watching, Peel Region. Unlike the stock market, where if a company fails, you can lose all your money, with a syndicate mortgage, your money is protected. It's secured by the land. Remember, with real estate, it's all about being able to touch and feel your investment. Unlike stocks, where you get a piece of paper noting the value of your investment, real estate is about real property.